Hi Math Knights, this is Ron Martiello, and today we're going to use a conceptual model to analyze multiplicative comparison problems. Now this is a 4th grade standard, but many of the skills and models that we have taken a look at in 2nd grade and 3rd grade do help with the understanding of this model, and this model will also help our students as they begin their work in 6th grade with unit rates and ratios. Let's begin our conversation by unpacking the standard. Students are to multiply or divide to solve problems involving multiplicative comparisons. For example, they can use a drawing or representation. They could also use equations. They also are to utilize a symbol for any unknown numbers that they need to find. So this is the floor. This is the beginning of this standard, but we have built some foundational work in 2nd grade with additive comparisons, where we have the bigger number and the smaller number, we find the difference. We also have equal groups in 3rd grade, where we have a bar model that allows students to show what equal groups looks like, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. But we also want to understand that we are working in the conceptual understanding of these types of problems. We can't rush too quickly to the equations until students know exactly what part of the problem they're being asked to solve. So let's take that walk. So let's take a look at an additive comparison model just to get started. Our multiplicative comparison is going to look similar but a little different. So we have a bigger number, a smaller number, and a difference in an additive comparison. Then let's take a look at the multiplication bar model that shows equal groups. This is a great model to show equal groups, and equal groups are definitely a part of the multiplicative comparison. This is what the multiplicative comparison looks like in all. It has a larger number. It has a smaller number. It has a multiplier or number of groups. It has a difference, but it can also have a total number. And depending on how the author of the problem asks the question is which part we are going to be looking for when we go to analyze these problems. So let's start analyzing some of these problems. First, I'm going to use one problem, but I'm going to twist it around a couple different ways. I'm going to give you information that's pretty consistent, but then I'm going to ask different questions so that we can solve for different parts of the multiplicative comparison. There are 7 math nights on a hill. There are 3 times as many math nights back at the camp. That's the base of the problem. So what if I'm asked about the larger number being unknown? Well, then the problem may be asked this way. There are 7 math nights on the hill. There are 3 times as many math nights back at the camp. How many math nights are back at the camp? You would take the multiplier, multiply it by the smaller number in order to get the larger number. But what if the smaller number is unknown? Well, then the problem may be asked this way. There are 21 math nights in the camp. There are 3 times as many math nights back at the camp as there are on the hill. How many math nights are on the hill? In order to find the smaller number, you would take the larger number, divide it by the multiplier in order to get the smaller number. So what if the multiplier is unknown? Then the problem may read this way. There are 7 math nights on the hill. There are 21 math nights back at the camp. How many times more math nights are there in the camp than there are on the hill? In order to find that number, you would take the larger number divided by the smaller number in order to get the multiplier. What if the difference is unknown? The problem may sound like this. There are 7 math nights on the hill. There are 3 times as many math nights back at the camp. how many more math nights are back at the camp than on the hill? Or the problem may read, there are 7 math nights on the hill. There are 3 times as many math nights back at the camp. How many less math nights are on the hill than back at the camp? There are 2 steps to this problem. First, you have to take the multiplier and multiply it by the smaller number in order to get the larger number. Once you have that larger number, you can take it and subtract the smaller number in order to find the difference. Remember, when finding the difference on a multiplicative comparison, there are 2 steps. Well, what if the total is unknown? The problem may read this way. There are 7 math nights on the hill. There are 3 times as many math nights back at the camp. How many math nights are there altogether? Step 1, you would take the multiplier and multiply it by the smaller number in order to get the larger number. Then you would take the larger number, add it to the smaller number in order to get the total number. And that is a multiplicative comparison, and that's how we analyze it a number of different ways depending on what the problem is asking us to solve for. I hope you find great success, Math Nights, as you work through these multiplicative comparisons with this type of conceptual understanding. Take care.